Okay, now we're actually inside the exhibit. We're talking with Mark Seekman here at the Louisville Science Center. Mark, what is it that what do you do?
I'm the spokesperson for the time being.
And doing a fine job too.
Doing
Keep
a
speaking.
fantastic job. We're inside Guitar, the instrument that rocked the world. It's more than 60 guitars, basses, instruments from, the oldest is 200 years old, all the way up to things that rolled off the assembly line last year.
Oh, really?
Some of them are worth up to $100,000 and insured for twice that.
Wow. Okay, so this is a little bit more expensive than my collection at home then.
A little bit. We have a couple you might be able to afford.
Oh, okay, very, very good. Well, let's take a look at some. Is there some highlight that you want to go to immediately?
Yeah, let's take a look at this Paul Reed Smith Dragon series.
Yes, let's look at this one.
So Paul Reed Smith was kind of the first guitar made for a higher end clientele. And if you'll notice on this one, the Dragon inlay, they make these every couple of years. This one's made with 238 pieces of gold, red and green abalone, mother of pearl, and actually the ivory from a tusk of a woolly mammoth.
No.
It doesn't get any more impressive than that. These tiny little, toenails and spikes, that's ivory from a woolly mammoth.
Ivory, could you get that? Did you get that? Oh yeah, okay. And I guess this is probably one of your more expensive models.
A little more expensive, yeah.
I love the Paul Reed Smith. The finish on the guitars, the bodies themselves.
Yeah.
Not to mention the inlays that they're well known for.
And Carlos Santana was known for playing a Paul Reed Smith. So
Exactly.
probably the most famous for using one of those.
Mm-hmm. I tried one time and I didn't sound anything like Carlos Santana. Nothing.
Well, first step is getting the look down.
Yeah. Well, I had the look. I mean, I think it was the amplifier. Maybe that was it.
We'll blame it on that.
Yeah, let's do that. And what else have we got here?
This is kind of the flashier, more celebrity side of it. Randy Rhoads, that played in Ozzy Osbourne's solo band, is known for playing a Jackson. I think he had one that was a black and white polka dot kind of motif on it. Jacksons are, with the pointy edges and things like that, they're more hard rock and metal.
Right, yeah. I bought my son one of those a few years ago. I told him, I said, don't you want a nice Fender, has these beautiful smooth lines? No, Dad, I think I'd really rather have a Jackson. Okay. Now you're getting more, I love the Parker. And this model is just fantastic. The Fly model is fantastic. The nice thing about this is you get the electric guitar sound, but you've also got the piezo pickups down there that give you a classic guitar sound. Walked into a church one time and they were playing, and I heard this beautiful classical guitar sound. I'm thinking, where's that one? Where's the acoustic guitar? There's not, and it was one of these. Tell me more about this.
Yeah. This one was designed by Adrian Belew, who played in King Crimson. They were kind of a prog rock band, still active today. And, like their sound, they're known for kind of quirky, eccentric prog rock kind of sound. So this kind of matches that a little bit.
Yeah. Now, Ken Parker just did he decide, well, gosh, he wanted to take the Fender design and take it a little further and see what he could do. And the design, the whole thing, it's a composite model.
Yeah.
Everything is composite, right?
And he was a furniture builder to begin with, so guitars were kind of a stretch for him, but worked perfectly.
That's right. And some people actually call him as innovative as Leo Fender. That's a bit of a step there, but I'd take that. It's good company.
One of my favorites, the air guitar.
Now this one, I want to tell you, a guy named Gary Purdy, I think, invented the air guitar because he felt like he could learn guitar through osmosis. If he stood there long enough and did this, he could play it.
Yep.
That didn't work either. So there's the air guitar, the famous air guitar. And I see this is for the rock band.
Yep. The kids often find that a little more interesting than everything else, but if it's easy enough to just hit a couple buttons and play a guitar, why
if
not?
it were all that easy, right?
If it were all that easy, yeah.
Okay.
Then let me take you up the ramp around this way.
Let's go up the ramp. And Mark, do you have these guitars? Where did they come from? Are they on loan from someone or several people?
This is a traveling exhibit put together by the National Guitar Museum. So the museum itself doesn't actually have a home right now. This is about a third of their total collection that's touring the country. A lot of these are from the collection of Harvey Newquist, the director of the museum, and some are on loan from famous guitar players.
Okay.
Such as this one. This is the Bond Electric Glide on loan from Joe Bonamassa, who's a kind of a newer blues guitar player.
Yep, we saw him last year at the Palace. It's another situation. We walked, we were sitting there, the band starts playing, and I'm looking around, and I go, okay, I hear 2 guitars. Where's the other guitar player? There's only one guitar player. It was Joe Bonamassa, and it's just fantastic.
Yeah.
Now explain this guitar. What's special about
this?
this?
A Bond Electric Glide. It was only made for about 2 years by a Scottish guitar maker. There's no wood in this guitar at all. It's all a solid piece of plastic, carbon fiber plastic. It's kind of one of the first more electronic or digital guitars, so there's no pickup switches, there's no volume, treble knobs. It's all buttons. So you would just adjust the pickups and the tone using those buttons. The other thing, if you think of the normal neck of a guitar, it's flat, it's got raised frets. If you look at this one from the side, it's almost like a lightning bolt that kind of steps down.
Ah, so you taking the Steve Vai, no, who's got the scallop neck on there?
Steve Vai.
Is it Steve Vai? Okay, okay.
We'll point out one of his in a second.
All right, we can do that.
Speaking of, so Steve Vai is kind of known for playing these Ibanez guitars, the cut-out handle on them. They've since been used. You can get them out of most catalogs, things like that. This is his original prototype.
Oh,
this
really?
Is on loan from him. This is the first
This
one
is
ever made.
very, very rare.
And you can see it's even got a little Steve Vai wear and tear and a little duct tape at the top.
Good, yeah. Always tell a good working man's guitar.
Yeah.
Fantastic. What else have we got
Let's
here?
take a
Oh,
look at this Japanese guitar. So this is a mid-60s Japanese guitar. Kind of resembles a Strat.
I love the 4 pickups. I remember when I was a kid, we used to think that the more pickups it had, well, the better it was, you know? And we saw, it may have been a guitar, well, it was very similar to this, it was Teisco. And it's like 4 pickups, and that's great, man. Gotta have one of those.
The Japanese kind of, I'll show you a Russian guitar in a minute, but the Japanese tried to add as many bells and whistles on top of a guitar as they could. Whereas the Russians, they did the same thing, but they did it to make it as completely opposite as American guitars as they could. So this was just for show, the Russians was for a political purpose.
A political guitar. We're learning something all the time, folks. Now, a Vox. This is the Phantom, yeah, which was modeled after the Vox.
Yep. And Bo Diddley played Phantoms for a while. This is a kind of mid-60s version of the Phantom.
Mm-hmm.
The big hit on this wall is the guitar, the most heard guitar in the history of the world. This is Vic Flick's Clifford Essex that was used to play the James Bond theme.
No, really?
It's the most heard guitar playing in the world.
You know, it's funny, you should mention this, and this is fantastic, because I've always wanted to write a song, but I've always wanted to have written the James Bond theme. Could you imagine the royalties on that?
No
They're
kidding.
everywhere.
No kidding.
And this is the guitar that started it all.
This is the guitar that he played it on. It's got a real early kind of crude version of a pickup that's almost more like a mic. It has cables running inside the body to mic it up.
Wow. And it's a Paragon Deluxe.
Yep.
Never heard of those.
Me either.
Fantastic.
They were more, Clifford Essex, the brand was more known for banjos and mandolins and things like that than for guitars.
Great. Oh, and I see, here's another quite popular model.
Yep.
Can you get a shot of that? Anybody know who played one of these? Okay, I'll give you a hint. The pick guard was on the other side. That's a Hofner.
It's the Beatle bass. That's Paul McCartney's.
Yep. And he doesn't have his original one, I don't think. Oh, I think he does have the original one, the one that had the 2 pickups up here. And then he got one similar to this. It was a 5001, I think was the model or something. Somebody stole his first one, I think, but he's got one that he got right after that. As I recall, that's what's going on. Fantastic. There's another one I've always wanted. In fact, I had one of these, and I let it get away. Don't do that.
And then from the Firebird on through the other wall, these are some of the most versatile guitars that you'll ever come across. So Gibson SG, Fender Stratocaster, Gibson Les Paul, Telecaster, there's a Fender Precision bass over there. These are the ones that you can still pick up off the shelf and play anything you want today.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, I'm looking for a good 70s model P bass. So if anybody out there has one, contact Mark or me. Mark will fix it.
I think that's a mid 60s that we have on the wall over there.
Yeah.
Maybe early 60s.
It looks like. Actually, it looks like I'm thinking a 59 model.
Could
Does
be.
that make sense? We'll go over and check that out.
We'll check it out.
Okay. Now, do you play guitar yourself?
I'm a drummer. I dabble in guitar.
Okay.
Let the drummer jokes roll.
How do you get a drummer off your porch? Okay, we won't go into that. Pay him for the pizza, I know. You can also interchange that with bass player, lead guitar
Yeah.
player, or keyboard. But I've never heard of keyboard. They don't make fun of keyboard players.
No,
I think they write all the jokes.
Brainier.
They
Yeah.
probably are.
That would make sense.
Now,
Then behind us, this is the Guinness World Record largest playable guitar. So this is a Gibson Flying V.
wow, looks like an aircraft carrier. And
Not far from it.
it plays.
It will.
Can-
It's not mic.
can we-
filtered.
can we
It's
hit
got little
a string?
pickups. You can certainly strum it.
I wonder what pitch that is.
Just listen to the sustain.
I'm thinking E flat.
Something like that. Something flat.
Now, who made this?
This was made in 2003 by a group of science students in New England. I can't remember the exact city, but it's since been used in runway shows. They've had models walking down it.
I hope the strings were off when they.
The strings were off. The very first chord ever played on this was the opening chord to A Hard Day's Night. So once they got it all together, had the Guinness World Records folks there to jot it down in the record books. They had 6 kids holding down the strings, strummed it at the end, and it was the opening to Hard Day's Night.
Which is Randy Bachman recently. Have you seen
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Heard that? Yeah, that's
Figured out
circulating
what it
the internet. Yeah, he was supposedly Randy Bachman was over in Abbey Road Studios, and George Martin's son Giles, I think it was, brought him in. He says, I've got all the Beatles stuff. I've got it all, and Pro Tools, I think it was, so all recorded, digital. He said, "What would you like to hear?" So Randy Bachman says, obviously, here's the thing I want to hear, because the books have been written about how they played the opening chord to A Hard Day's Night. What is it? So he plays them, John's part, he plays them, George doing the hard part,
Yeah.
and Paul hit a D. So how do you get a bass player off your porch? Hit him a D.
Just hit a D, Paul. I don't know how.
I don't know how. And we've got some amps here too.
Yeah, so these are all kind of touchscreen interactive. So if you think, how loud is an electric guitar really? And it bounces over and climbs the decibel scale.
Sounds cause physical pain in ears.
Depends on what you're listening to. And then a volcano, which is the loudest on this list, which is twice that. Eardrums can rupture, damage to internal organs may occur.
So we don't get quite that loud, in spite of what my mother and my neighbors used to think.
You point out this Ovation Breadwinner.
The Ovation Breadwinner, okay.
So this guitar was designed by a marketing guy, actually.
It looks like it
Ovation-
might have been designed by marketing. I'm sorry.
They decided they wanted to, start rolling out guitars. They called up their marketing guy. They said, "Hey, we need you to design the body of a guitar." He says, "I don't know how to do that. I'm not a guitar maker." They're like, "Come on, man, just build us an axe." So if you look at it, it's kind of got that Gene Simmons
Yeah.
like shape.
It does. It does. It looks
Pick it
like
up.
something you could get mauled with.
Yep.
Ovation. Glenn Campbell played it. In fact, did he play this one?
I don't know that he played that one, but he did play Ovation.
He was a spokesman for them for a while. It seems like I've seen a picture of him with an electric. I don't know.
I wouldn't.
Maybe not this one.
And then on the other side over here, this is the
Oh, the
Russian
Steinbrenner?
guitar.
Oh, okay. Oh, and this is the Russian guitar
This
you're
is the
talking
Russian one, so you can see it's also got 4 pickups, millions of bells and whistles, 7 different pickup switches. They did this after the Cold War to kind of get as far away from the Western style of guitars as they could. So they just added stuff just to add it, and more for political reasons than the Japanese that just wanted to throw stuff on there.
The Rostov Stella. Okay.
And I was told earlier today that when this guitar was located and they got it to the collection, it was from an old guy in the Ukraine that literally shipped it to the United States in a burlap garland with a wood panel with the address carved into it.
Oh gosh! And it made it.
And it made it.
Wow.
The one thing that's missing, input
Oh,
jack.
it's there?
Not a typical quarter inch.
Holy cow! What is that? It looks like a multi-plug or something.
It's like a 5-prong something or other.
Leave it to the Russians. Complicated. They probably had that on one end and an electrical plug on the other end. We're not sure how to make it work either. Okay, we got some. Yes, I'm sorry.
Take a look at the first electric guitar ever made.
Let's do that.
We gotta get that guy over to do the podcast. He's awesome.
Yeah, Harvey's great. So this Rickenbacker lap steel, it's a lot smaller than all the other guitars. Originally around the turn of the century, early 30s, guitars were a lot smaller. They weren't made to be accompanied with vocals or with a band or anything. It was just strum a melody on your front porch kind of thing. So this is one solid cast iron sheet of aluminum. It's hollow inside, has one of the very first pickups that actually has a bridge over it to kind of encase it.
This is the frying pan, right?
This
Is that what
is
they
the
call
frying
it?
pan, yeah. And when they rolled them off the assembly line, they were hollow and they created all kinds of feedback problems. So they would stuff them with newspaper and little bags of sand and stuff like that to keep from feeding back. It's meant to be played kind of in a Hawaiian style. That's where
Right,
the
yeah, a little-
original electric guitar came from.
So now, do you have any new Rickenbackers here? Just to show you that Mr. Rickenbacker actually.
I think we have some around the corner.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll get to those.
Yeah.
I love the Guild guitars.
Yeah.
I love them. In fact, I have one.
Oh,
It's
nice.
not a 12-string though. I could only afford 6.
The
Those are
holy
sweet.
grail in this whole exhibit is this Martin right here, the Martin Dreadnought.
Sweet.
So if you think of a guitar like a bottle of wine, a 2003 vintage bottle of wine is leagues better than, a 2011. This is around 1950 Martin Dreadnought. This is when they went from the smaller sized Rickenbackers to a larger body. Dreadnought because that was the large British battleships in World War I that could defeat anything, the largest on the
So that's what they named it after. I always
That's what
wondered
they
about
named
that. I thought, I knew the shoulders, the size, the way it's designed was the Dreadnought, but I never knew where the name came from.
Yep. And you'll see this is a D28. You ever see a number after the name of a Martin guitar? It refers to the ornamentation. So on a scale from 0 to 100, this is a 28 with the inlay on the fretboard, the border around the body and around the
Interesting.
microboard.
So D35 is a little more ornate than
Yep.
the D28.
We have a D40 around the corner just to show the difference. This is Brazilian rosewood. When we took it out of the case, you could literally smell it.
Now, is this the one that's $100,000?
It's a $100,000 guitar.
Yeah. Sweet. Are you listening, honey? Okay, what's next,
For
Mark?
Christmas. Let's take a peek at this one, actually. This is a Silvertone all-in-one. So around the same time that Sears was making catalog houses, catalog guitars. You get your amp, guitar, and case all in one.
It's very interesting. This guitar, a friend of mine, when I first started playing, his name was Paul Cates. Paul had one of these things. I only played 2 songs, What I Say and I can't remember the other one. But I always thought the guitar was made out of, it looks like a flooring tile or something,
It does,
you know?
kind of.
But these things right now, when they were sold, I think they were like less than $100. Yeah, and like right now, I see these things on eBay all the time. They start at like $200 and up. Depends on. I had a chance to buy one of these about 5 years ago. I'm going to do that a lot before we get out of here.
Yep.
Sweet guitar.
That's how Hendrix got his start, right out of the catalog.
Actually, Jimmy Page played one of these. I'm not sure it was this particular model,
Yeah.
but Stairway to Heaven supposedly was played on a Silvertone. Couldn't prove it by me. I wasn't there.
Let's take a look. These are some of the older acoustics. Looks like we still got a truck in here. We'll work around it.
That's okay. Oh, now I've seen this one.
Yeah, it's a nice harp guitar. It looks like it would be horrible to have to reach around and play, but maybe you play it more upright.
Wow.
This is the Martin 40, so the other one was a 28, had tiny little embellishments on the fretboard. This is a little bit larger, mother of pearl going around the body. And you'll notice this one is a lot smaller than the Dreadnought was.
Right.
This was made,
It's a parlor guitar, right?
yeah, parlor guitar. And actually one of the oldest guitar that we have is actually a Gibson parlor guitar, or a Martin parlor guitar, sorry. So this is kind of the size that they were before the Dreadnought came along and established about the size that a guitar still is today.
So now this one is what?
1835.
Wow. So this is the guitar that won the West.
Yeah.
All right.
Basically.
There you have it.
They say it was smaller because, you know, it wasn't meant to be played with a band. You know, they didn't start off playing with vocal accompaniment. And, you know, a lot of people have said that it's smaller because women played them more than men starting off.
Oh, well, interesting. I did not know that, Tim.
Who'd have thunk it?
Really?
And the earliest resemblance to the guitar that we have today is probably this Vihuela. It's a Spanish guitar. It's a little wider than the Italian Baroque guitar. It's got 12 strings. The body resembles it more. The porthole in the center resembles it more. But the 12 strings were meant to be plucked, strummed, or bowed like a violin. So it was a little more versatile. You know, not that Jimmy Page never strummed
or
his
bowed,
guitar,
yes.
yeah.
So now, was the tuning on this, was it the same as the modern tuning?
You know, I couldn't tell you. I assume it would be something similar, but the fretboard is a lot shorter, so there's not, you know, as many notes that you could get out of it as a
Yeah,
longer
so
fretboard.
I might be able to manage that.
You could pick
Shorter
something out
neck,
of it,
yeah.
yeah.
Fewer notes.
Yeah.
Very good.
And then if we can, there's two more I want to point out, if this card isn't in the way.
Nice banjo.
A charango. This
Wow.
is a South American kind of ukulele style. They picked it up from a Spanish style of guitar. Uses an armadillo for the body.
No. Really?
That's an armadillo.
I
You
thought
know
it was
what
like a coconut or something, but it's an
No, you can see the hairs sticking off of this one.
So there's actually a use for
There is-
armadillos.
Well, you know, in the regions of the Andes where they made these guitars, they didn't have enough wood or the right kind of wood to make a bowl shape for the back of the guitar. And they used turtle shells for a little while, but you couldn't really mold those. All right. So they used armadillo shells because you could mold those a little
Interesting.
better. Sorry.
We're still in the progress here, but by the time you guys see this, all this will be gone.